old that he had a brown coat. It was bald in patches and showed the seams underneath, and most of the hairs in his tail had been pulled out to string bead necklaces. He was wise, for he had a long succession of mechanical toys arrive to boast and swagger and by to break their mainsprings and pass away. And he knew they were only toys, and he would never turn anything else, for nursery magic is very strange and wonderful, and only these two playthings that are old and wise and experienced like the skin horse understand all about it. What is real? Asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery vendor before Nana came to tidy the room. Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle? Real isn't how you are made, said the skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time. Not only to play with, but really loves you. Then you become real. Does it hurt? Asked the rabbit. Sometimes, said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. When you are real, you don't mind being hurt. Does it happen all at once, like being wound up, he asked, or bit by bit? It doesn't happen all at once, said the skin horse. You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily or have sharp edges or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you're real, most of your hair has been left off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But those are the things that don't matter at all, because once you're real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand. I suppose you are real, said the rabbit, and then he wished he had not said it, for the thought of the skin horse could be sensitive. But the skin horse only smiled. The skin horse tells his story. The boy's uncle made me real, he said. That was a great many years ago. But once you are real, you can't become unreal again. It lasts for always. The rabbit sighed. He thought it could be a long time before his magic called real happened to him. He longed to become real, to know what it felt like, and yet the idea of growing shabby and losing his eyes and whiskers was rather sad. He wished that he could become it without these uncomfortable things happening to him. There was a person called Nana who ruled the nursery. Sometimes she took no notice of the playthings lying about, and sometimes, for no reason whatever, she went swooping around like a great wind and hustled them into a cupboard. She called this tidying up, and the playthings all hated, especially the tin ones. The rabbit didn't mind it so much, for whatever it was thrown, he'd come down soft. One evening, when the boy was going to bed, he couldn't find the china dog that always slept with him. Nana was in a hurry, and it was too much trouble to hunt for china dogs at a bedtime, so she simply looked up about her, and seeing that the toy cupboard door stood open, she made a swoop. Here, she said, take your old bunny. He'll do it to sleep with you. And she dragged the rabbit out by one ear and put him in the boy's arm. That night, and for many nights after, the velveteen rabbit slept in the boy's bed. At first, he found it rather uncomfortable, for the boy hugged him very tight, and sometimes he rolled over on him, and sometimes he pushed him so far under the pillow that the rabbit could secretly breathe, and he missed, too, those long moonlight hours in the nursery, when all the house was silent, and his talks with the skin horse. But very soon he grew to like it, for the boy used to talk to him, and made him nice tunnels for him under the bedclothes that were like the barrows the real rabbits lived in, and they had splendid games together. In whispers, when Nana had gone away to her supper, and left the night light burning on the mantelpiece, and when the boy dropped off to sleep, The rabbit would snuggle down close under up his little warm chin and dream, with the boy's hand clasped close around him all night long. And so time went on, and the little rabbit was very happy, so happy that he never noticed his beautiful velveteen fur was getting shabbier and shabbier, and his tail became unsewn, and all the pink rubbed off his nose where the boy had kissed him. Spring came, and they had long days in the garden, for wherever the boy went, the rabbit went too, and he had rides in the wheelbarrow, and picnics on the grass, and lovely fairy hunts built for him under the raspberry canes behind the flower border. And once when the boy was called away suddenly to go out to tea, the rabbit was left on the lawn until after dusk, and Nana had to come and look for him with the candle because the boy couldn't go to sleep unless he was there. He was wet through with the dew and quite earthy from diving into the barrows the boy had made for him in the flower beds, and Nana grumbled as she rubbed him off with the corner of her apron.